5 kills remaining. One kill remaining. Match found.
They have no idea how heartless I am.
Spike rush.
Yeah, golden gun chao, try no.
Inside.
Bowling me. कौन घुसी घुसिया? Try no घुसिया. कौन घुसिया? वो लीट है.
Last player standing.
Loop भाई. OP. नहीं आया. तो हेड पड़ा था. OP अरे भाई. हेड मारा है मारो.
Shadows traveling.
ऊपर आके बैठ गया. ये भाई यो बचा रहो.
अबे ओए ओली रेस की लेट नती.
You're not a good shot today. Don't worry. There are other ways to be useful.
लूबड़ा बेड़ा करे.
Come into the unknown.
Ultimate.
Blinding.
Cutting their vision. Cutting their vision.
असिस्ट नहीं आओ तुम्हारा तो हट
My ult ready.
Get out of my way!
मैं ऊपर एक काम करूँ तू अरे वो निकली क्यों ले अरे यार अरे यहाँ से अरे हेड पड़ी क्या वो पाकू जेटे पाकू हेड पड़ी जेटे पाकू
One enemy remaining. Clutch. Last round before the switch.
એ ધક્કા ધક્કીમાં નાખો જ મને અંદર
નુબરે
ધક્કામાં હું અંદર ઘૂસ્યો
तेरा बाप आया
No prisoners. They will cover. See nothing.
Fire in the hole!
The rush. You should run.
Bye! Lock in sight.
Flag planted. My ult is ready.
Here. Blocking sight.
Scanning ahead.
Reloading.
Last player standing.
અબે યાર બેઠો નહીં ને
One enemy
Party's
remaining.
over. Ready. Easy. Watch this!
Switching sides.
We win. We survive.
रमकड़ा आया तेरे में
ओके
अरे वो क्या रमकड़ा से गयो बे मन खबर ना पड़ी यार तुम मजाक मत रमू तू यार
नहीं
Spike planted.
अब फेंक कर ना बाहर जबरू लगा रहे हो आनु रमकड़ू
Still in sight. Cutting their vision.
साला किल नहीं ले बिना किल ना ले એટલે તું સાલા પેલું कर दे हैं
Shock dart.
Reloading.
वो हरामी दे हर्ष
Shock dart.
है वे हर्ष પેલો કિલ ના લે એટલે એના ઉપર સ્મોક કરી કાઢે છે
One enemy remaining.
મરી ગયા
Don't dare.
निकट हारी गया तो
जीत गया
Clutch.
बूम
अरे रे
जीती जैसे लोगों
Match point.
मैं बोगस गनाई है ले हाल बेटा હવે નો મતલબ શું હે બે તું આરા હવે કેમ તો અમે ત્યારે અનરેટેડ રમે ત્યારે હવે નો મતલબ શું હે હવે બતાડતા તારામાં તો પણ તો હવે કેમ તો તારું નામ કેમ આવે છે
Cutting their vision.
કોઈ નથી કોઈ 1 2 Twin Hunter
भाई साहब सो अंदर અહીંયા ભરાયો હતો.
Spike planted.
अरे बेटी तो
My ult ready. Watch this.
Still in sight.
One enemy remaining.
चल चल चल
Reloading. Reloading.
To work.
Just let them try to catch me.
हाल्या ओए बंदूक
Ready.
તે પેલી રાખતો હોય તો બે આપણે
Revealing
હા
area.
ડ્રેગન પણ
Found them.
હાલી ગઈ દુનિયા હાલી ગઈ એક દુનિયા હાલી ગઈ છે રેસી દુનિયા હાલી ગઈ છે
You're not.
બીજા
આ ગેસ
My
માં
ult ready.
help a shot.
There.
તો સીધો પૂછવાનો છું
Still in sight.
One enemy remaining.
जीजी रे जीजी रुक मन ले दे
પેલા મારીને સીધો હેડ માર્યો મેં
Sudden death.
આપ બંદૂક આપ
अबे શું કરે છે
હરામખોર કોણ છે આ અચ્છા હા
We are
તો
ready
બરાબર
for
છે.
them.
તો ના ચાલે શું દુનિયા લઈ દઉં સાલાઓની હાલી ગઈ દુનિયા હાલી ગઈ સાલાઓ
દાદા બીજા
અહીંયા કોઈ આવ્યો મારી પર માં કસમ ત્રણ લોકો છે સાઈફર કેજે અને અધર રેતી કાતો છે ધ્યાનથી ત્રણે અહીંયાથી જ આવશે વિન્ડોમાં
Reloading.
ચલો બાય હું જોઉં છું
Reloading.
No more.
Reloading.
માર રમવું તું યાર જેટ જોઈને પેલું શું કહેવાય અરે
30
વાહ
seconds
બેટે મોજ કરી દી રાયનો બહુ મસ્ત સ્કીન છે
Revealing
અમને
area.
આવી સ્કીન હોય ને તો એટલે હું સીધા હેડ મારું છું ખબર
ए पे रोटेट हो गया भाई यार
spike
20 सेकंड
planted.
क्या कर रहा है ये ओमेन सही में
ફૂટસ્ટેપ ના આપીશ
ज्यादा
શિફ્ટ દબાઈ ચાલ
अरे तार निकट टाइम नहीं था ना
ભાઈ રીલ મારજે ફટાફટ 16 સેકન્ડ થી 15
सो भाग हिल कसो छेद नहीं चलो आ जाओ
લે ભાઈ
જા, જા, જા,
આ પેલું
બરાબર,
રોબોટ છે
हेल्प करो मैं डिफ्यूज कराओ मैं हेल्प कर
Fire in the hole!
રીલ માર તો ફટાફટ હવે મરી ગયા તમે લોકો મરી
Last player standing.
મરી ગયા ઓમેન તું રોબડા હે
સહીની વસ્તુ હતી મારે तुम लोग को बोलता था
નાઈસ
Attackers win.
ટ્રાય એન્ડ ઓપી
हमारा लेक्चर चाले
હવે આના 11 કિલ જા ના માં કસમ
FPS increase guide for Valorant. With inside of this video We're going to be helping you guys achieve the very best FPS possible alongside the most stable FPS possible to help you reduce any stuttering you might be experiencing, lowering overall input lag and ensuring that your game is feeling as snappy and as responsive as possible whilst maintaining a great visual fidelity. Regardless of your system specs, this video is going to contain a plethora of optimizations, whether you're running on an ancient ultra low end laptop all the way up to the latest and greatest in gaming hardware. Regardless of your system specs, using the pack, and you can opt into some of the optimizations throughout this video. I'm going to apply that same optimization by going into the shooter game folder, going into binaries, Win64, and going down to the Valorant Win64 shipping file, right clicking, properties, compatibility, and again disable full screen, change IDPI, override, OK, apply, and OK. That basically stops Windows from being able to force on the Windows 10 game application optimizations, which in almost every case can actually deteriorate FPS on almost every machine. Once you've applied them, we can then go ahead and exit out. We can then change a quick setting inside of Windows 10 to optimize Valorant to perform at its best. To do this, we're going to be navigating to the bottom left hand side, clicking on the Windows key, typing in game space mode, going into the game mode settings tab. Then with inside of it, go to the game mode flicker switch and actually turn this on. You should be running game mode on the later versions of Windows 10. Once that's turned on, go ahead and exit out. We can then jump into the FPS increase pack in which we installed earlier on by double clicking, going inside of the optimizations folder and going into the Valorant process priority folder. With inside of it, you'll then be met with 3 keys. These 3 keys will actually adjust the value of Valorant's priority with inside of the Windows Task Manager every to the game mode settings tab. Then with inside of it, go to the game mode flicker switch and actually turn this on. You should be running game mode on the later versions of Windows 10. Once that's turned on, go ahead and exit out. We can then jump into the FPS increase pack in which we installed earlier on by double clicking, going inside of the optimizations folder and going into the Valorant process priority folder. With inside of it, you'll then be met with 3 keys. These 3 keys will actually adjust the value of Valorant's priority with inside of the Windows Task Manager every single time the game is booted. Above normal priority can sometimes boost FPS for people on around about 2 to 4 core CPUs in some cases. For the best results, usually we're going to be going with the high priority key, and you can come back inside of here and select normal to revert this change back at any time if you wish to do so. But what we're going to be doing is double clicking on high priority, selecting yes, yes, and OK. Once you guys are done with inside of there, we can then exit out of that folder. What we're now going to be doing is actually disabling a feature with inside of Windows 10 which can increase your overall input lag and cause many issues with inside of games depending on your system specs. For the most part, turning this off will improve FPS across the board for almost every single person watching, and if your PC doesn't prefer to have this option changed, you shouldn't notice much of a difference anyway. The optimization I'm talking about is actually the high precision event timer built with inside of Windows, and to access this feature, what we can do is actually navigate to the bottom left hand side, click on the Windows key, type in device space manager just like so, and open device manager. Once inside of device manager, we're then going to be scrolling all the way down to the S section for system devices, clicking on the arrow next to it to expand it. We're then going to go down to the H section and we're looking for the option that's titled High Precision Event Timer. Right clicking on the option, then selecting Disable Device. If you have an option for Enable Device, this means that this is already turned off, and I'd recommend keeping it turned off, but if it is running, click Disable, press Yes. Once that's been disabled, go ahead and exit out. And there's a piggyback step to doing that to ensure that it's definitely disabled, and that is by going into the FPS increase pack, going inside of the command text document. You'll then find the commands to turn this on and off with inside of the Windows command prompt. So if we're going to be turning it off, you'll simply copy this command found here, which is turn off HPET, and if you wish to re-enable it, you'll copy this command down here. Assuming we're going to be turning this off, we're going to copy this command here, right click, select copy, exit out the notepad, navigate down to the bottom left hand side, click on the Windows key, and then type in CMD just like so. Go ahead and right click on the command prompt, run this as an administrator, and select yes. Once inside of it, we're then going to go ahead and press Ctrl V on our keyboard to paste that command and then press enter. If this comes up with an error occurred whilst attempting to delete this means that the value is already deleted and the HPET is actually already turned off. If it says that the operation is successful, your event timer will then be switched off just like so. And again, if you wish to revert this change, you'll simply copy that command I showed you earlier on to re-enable it with inside of more gains, and we'll then be finalising with a few more vital optimizations outside of the game. Top left hand side, clicking on the Valorant logo, then going to the Settings tab. With inside of here we can start off with the General tab, and with inside of here what we're going to be doing is scrolling all the way down to the Other section. With inside of here what we're going to be doing is actually going down to Show Mature Content. You can actually get a quite significant FPS boost regardless of your system specs by turning this off. Go down to the explicit language filter, you can turn this on or off if you wish to do so. Instability indicators, so you can have them on if you wish to get the extra information, but I wouldn't recommend it. Network buffering, this is going to be changed depending on the reliability and strength of your connection. If you guys are running a hardwired LAN cable into the back of your computer, I'd recommend clicking on minimum, but if you guys have unstable internet or are using wireless internet that's halfway across the house, or the connection can sometimes be patchy, you can go with purple, 2 different types of yellow, or red. Once you guys have got those settings, once all of those settings have been changed, we can then go of the game, so it is best to actually boot into the practice mode and change these settings on the fly to see which gives you the best FPS. For the most part, if you're running on a sort of medium end to high end PC, windowed full screen can actually sometimes give you the best FPS. This will also help with you alt tabbing, making that almost instantaneous. So if you're someone that likes to alt tab quite a lot and you're running on a sort of middle of the park PC, windowed full screen can actually give you the best frames. On the previous patch, windowed full screen actually worked the best for my high-end gaming PC, which I'm recording this video on, but now I'm seeing around about a 5% increase in frames by using full screen. So do experiment around with this feature, as there isn't really a best use case scenario, but and it will just increase load and temperature to the graphics card you are using. Limit FPS in background, again I'd probably turn that on and set that to 30, so that's when you minimise the game, it's not running at its full speed. And limit FPS always, I'd recommend turning off unless you're on a lower end gaming laptop which can overheat. If you want to keep temperatures down, I would recommend capping your FPS and capping it close to your screen's refresh rate. But if you want the best competitive edge and cooling isn't really an issue, turn this off and we're then good to go. We can then navigate over to the graphics quality tab. This is where things get quite interesting. Multi-threaded rendering, if this is an option available to you, definitely turn this on regardless of your system specs. Having this turned on and using the process lasso tool to actually modify this slightly, which I'll show you after this, can work fantastically. So turn this on. Material quality is recommended to have set to low. Texture quality, you can set this as per your system specs if you wish to have your game look a little bit sharper, but for me these are my complete recommended settings for the best competitive edge. If you do wish to set the texture quality to match your system specs, go with high for high-end systems, medium for medium end, and vice versa. I'm going to be going with medium end. Detail quality I'd recommend setting to low. UI quality can be set to medium at the highest. You can then turn on Vignette if you wish to do so, as this can make some UI elements such as your abilities available to you and your should be switched off. Button, go to practice, and boot into the shooting range to have a look what your new settings look like. Don't pay attention too much to what the FPS looks like, as there is still a few more optimizations we're going to be applying with inside of this video, so don't take the FPS you're getting as a final result, but it should be a decent enough indication of whether or not you like the settings visually. So once you're done with inside of there, go to the top left hand side, click on the Valorant key, and hit exit to desktop. For those who opted into the bit sum or process lasso optimization I was talking about earlier on, before you close out of your game, it's important that you actually alt tab out and open up process lasso on top of the game. Once inside of the program, we're then going to go to the process name drop down menu and find Valorant Win64 shipping.exe. Right click on the application, and we can start off by going to priority class. Go down to always and make sure that high is selected with inside of here. If high isn't selected and you don't see the tick next to it, click on high, this will then select the option. We can then take ourselves down to the CPU Affinity tab. Go with inside of CPU Affinity, go to always again, and this is where things can get quite interesting. Depending on your system specs, if you have around about 8 CPUs or more available with inside of here, it is actually recommended to actually try and disable CPU 0 by selecting it, going back with inside of those options, so CPU Affinity, always, and with it deselected, this will mean that Valorant is using the second CPU core within inside of your CPU as its primary core. Again, this is quite experimental, but for the most part, for most systems, this will actually improve your FPS. And this goes for other games as well. So once you guys have got those settings changed, we can then just minimize out of the process lasso tool, and we're then good to go. All of those options are then applied automatically as long as the program is running every single time you boot the game. For another further tweak to our in-game settings which can vitally improve your FPS if you're not experiencing the results you are wishing for, is we can actually tweak around our config file within inside of the game. This is completely safe to do, this is not ban worthy, and everything we're going to be changing is completely fine. What we're going to be doing is navigating to the bottom left hand side, clicking on the Windows key, typing in %appdata% just like so, then pressing enter. Once inside of it, we're then going to go up to the app data folder found here in the navigation configuration screen. Once you guys have set the value you wish to try out, go to the top FPS increase pack provided again. And if you guys did enjoy this video, please do like the video as it helps me out tremendously. And if you guys do enjoy this sort of content, please do consider
Match found. Deathmatch. Warm up.
I know what must be done.
Fight!
We go! Good attempt.
10 kills remaining. Five kills remaining.
One dead. Enemy down. Red.
One kill remaining. Match found.
finally back out in the field. Let's go. There's so many new toys I want to try out.
Spike, please. Spike, please.
Placing a sentry.
Spike.
Launching smoke.
Enemy spotted.
I'll return. I got the spot.
Here's my copy.
Last player standing.
Raina, I'll take one side if you take the other. They'll be dead in 5 seconds.
Keep it cool. That's how you survive. Bomb buddy out.
Last player standing.
Everyone note down your observations, then let's run it again. Let's make some chaos. Bomb buddy out. Satchel out. Satchel out. That's done.
Time to...
Launching smoke.
Placing sentry. Out.
Spike planted. Portal closed.
One enemy remaining.
It's mine.
Reload.
Now get out.
Here.
We win, we survive.
Okay, I'll fight.
भाई वो कैम्प कर रहा था.
Got the spike.
Enemy spot.
Out of here.
Still in sight. Still in sight.
Last player
Down.
standing.
For you, Veronica. Go get him. Cutting their vision. Enemy spotted. See ya! Here comes the party!
Reloading.
An alarm bot.
Placing swarm grenade. Placing swarm grenade.
Who's got the snacks? Okay, I only have like 78 grenades left. Hopefully that's enough. Don't overthink it. That's my job. Bomb buddy out.
Enemy here.
Cutting their vision. Enemy spotted. Oh! Yes.
Enemy here.
The hunt begins.
Spike planted. Volley.
One enemy remaining.
Move in after I strike. When's the week?
Come on, let's go! Fire in the hole!
Enemy spotted.
Spike carrier's down. Satchel out. Satchel out.
Last player standing. "30 seconds left.
If I kill all the enemies myself,
I have trouble sharing. I can't keep doing the same things.
Bomb buddy out.
Enemy spotted. Down you go.
Auf Wiedersehen. Inside.
Reloading.
Initiated. Alarm bot out.
smoke's down.
Turret
Stim
out.
beacon down.
One enemy remaining.
One left standing.
Bomb buddy out. Time to explode.
Placing swarm grenade. Placing swarm grenade.
Swarm grenade out.
Enemy spotted. Reloading.
Back off.
Finished.